Welcome to the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids pregame show. The Edmonton Blizzard are in town off the highway to face off against the hometown Grand Falls Rapids in what is sure to be a very highly physical and high-scoring affair for both sides. We'll dive into the matchup a little bit, but first, the rivalry is one of the most important in this team's history. The Blizzard so far this season have only lost one game, the second game of the season that these two teams play each other. And the last time that these two teams played, Edmonton took the victory 6-1, but who doesn't love a good underdog story, right? Tail of the tape, we're diving into things a little bit. Edmonton first overall in the league with only one loss to the Hamilton Tigers. That was 7 games ago, 6-0 since then. Their goals for, they've outscored their opponents 73-34, and the Grand Falls Rapids, on the other hand, 39-55. They've been outscored by 13 goals. But again, those are just at even strength. This is where the special teams are really going to come into play here. So when it comes to the power play, the Grand Falls Rapids are 15.6% on the power play. That's 5th in the division. The Edmonton Blizzard, on the other hand, 22.4%, which is 3rd in the division. So Edmonton's got a pretty good power play, but Grand Falls answers that with an 81.3% on the penalty kill, which ranks 2nd only behind Edmonton in the division as well. Edmonton, of course, with 87.5% in first place. Now, the stats may suggest that Edmonton obviously would come in and dominate, but we've seen this time and time again. The first win of the season for the Grand Falls Rapids came, the first loss was the home opener against the Miramichi Timberwolves, where they ended up dropping that game. The next game that they faced off against Miramichi, who ended up going on a 4-game win streak, they ended up coming back to beat them 6-5. Now, I know it's a little bit different with Edmonton being the powerhouse team that they are. They're on a 6-0 tear. They've only lost one game. But this is an opportunity to really throw them off balance and start to build back up by toppling over, number one, your biggest rival, and number two, a division rival, which will really help you gain some ground against both Miramichi and Fredericton in the standings. So that's going to be a huge, huge story as well. Like I mentioned, the scorers for the Grand Falls Rapids, Jeremy Dastu leading the way with 17 points, 13 assists, and Jonah Laird leading the team in goals with 8. Will Allen, newly acquired Blizzard, leading the way in goals for the Blizzard with 10. And Philip Collette leading the team in points with 27 points and 19 assists, respectively. Now, this is one where you're going to want to keep a very close eye on the storylines for this team, because like we were hyping this game up all week, this is a division rivalry game, and it's a game that both teams, they do not like each other. They want to prove a point. They want to win against each other. This goes more than just the game. It's when you personify this rivalry, when you give it a look, it runs deeper than just hockey. This is a town versus town, pride versus pride. This is a huge, huge game. It always is when Edmonton is in town. But looking at the storylines, not just that, a 40-plus year rivalry in the making. Grand Falls is looking to rise in the standings and reduce Miramichi's lead on them to get into that 4th place playoff spot. And the Edmonton Blizzard looking to pin another loss on the hometown Rapids and extend their divisional lead, keeping their 6-game win streak going. Both teams want to win this badly. This is what the historical stats are saying about this. The Rapids are 11-31 all time against Grand Falls, but of those 11 games, 7 of them were home games. The other 3 wins that they got were on the road, but when you compare those stats, 7 out of 11, that's 63% of the games that they've won against Edmonton have been at home. That's a big stat. And though they're 11-31, this is a huge thing to keep an eye on as well, because their win percentage at home against the Blizzard is massive. This is what to expect. This is going to be a game where tensions are going to flare. It's going to get chippy. It's going to be very, very high scoring, I think, for both sides. There's going to be a lot of goals scored from Grand Falls. There's going to be a lot of goals scored from Edmundston. It's not going to be a very close 1-0 game, that's for sure. It never is. Both teams are going to want to win badly at this. Like I mentioned, this goes deeper than just the game. It's a rivalry between towns. It's a rivalry between Pride versus Pride. Like I was saying, this is a very intense, very high stakes for some game with Edmundston rolling into town this week. Now, the last game, I want to talk about a couple of things that really looked impressive for the Rapids. The first 2 periods of the game Friday night against the Miramichi Timberwolves were easily the best 2 periods of hockey they played all season. You look at, they started on time. They got the first goal. They led for quite a while, and then the heart to come back and score those 2 goals to send this game to overtime. That right there is what you want to see, especially against a division rival like Miramichi. If they can start and have that same powerful start against Edmundston here today, where they take control of the game early, they score the first goal. The chances of them throwing the Blizzard off guard and catching that momentum, keeping it going through the course of the game, is really, really going to help them out. And I think that this is going to be one that's worth watching for sure. Always is every time Edmundston's in town, but you look at the history of these 2 teams. That's the key word here, history. Because this is a historic rivalry. It's a division rivalry. It's one that every time these 2 teams play each other, it's always an entertaining game one way or another, whether you're a Rapids fan, whether you're a Blizzard fan. But this could be a potentially big underdog story for the Grand Falls Rapids. Going up against the first place team in the league, your home win percentage is at 63% of the wins that you've got against the Blizzard. This is a very promising matchup. But again, stats are sometimes just stats. We'll see how the game ends up going, but I'm confident that this team has a lot of juice. Okay, and I want to talk a little bit about the matchups for next week as well, because it's going to be another really action-packed weekend with the Summerside Western Capitals, the first and only time that they are coming to Grand Falls this season. Coming to face them off on Friday night. That's going to be a game where, again, a team that has dominated the South Division. They're 12-1-2 on the season, and when it comes to their special teams, oh boy, 29.7% on the power play, which they end up leading the league, not just the division, but the league. And when it comes to their penalty kill, actually not that much better than Grand Falls. So special teams is going to play a major factor in that as well. 83.1% compared to the Rapids, who have an 81.3%, so just reverse the 2 numbers, and they both have played pretty well on the special teams anyway. When it comes to the matchup between the 2, is always an exciting game when Summerside comes to visit. Those South Division teams, we may mention that you only get to play them twice a year. It's once on the road and once at home. There's something special to be said for those kind of division rivalries as well, or intra-division rivalries as well, I should say. You look at Summerside, Grand Falls, that's been one that has been looked at. It's been one that's highly anticipated, almost as much as Edmundston coming here every single year. It's something that the fans look forward to. It's something the players look forward to. It's something that, heck, everybody around the community looks forward to, because it's those high-pressured games that you live to see, and a good underdog story is something that you always want to keep in mind as well. Summerside coming on Friday afternoon, and one that everybody's going to be watching, and all eyes on them is going to be the Fredericton Red Wings. So this is a long-standing division rivalry as well. Fredericton currently 5-9-0 on the season. So again, they're under 500 as well. You look at their goals for versus goals against, 53 goals for and 84 goals against. Now, this is a team that has been vastly outscored, and yes, they've gotten a few wins on the season, but again, this is a team that's really struggled too. They're only 2 points ahead of the Rapids, and they're looking to put some distance between Grand Falls and also catch Campbellton, who's in fourth place with 13 points, who are only 3 points ahead of them as well. So this is a very tight divisional race. Fredericton's coming on Sunday. Now, it's a huge weekend for the Rapids. if they can start on time, if they can win today's game, and if they go into Friday night, this is really going to help them set the momentum, set the tone for the next couple of games here as well. There is a very, very tight divisional race. Like I was mentioning, there's only 5 points separating the Grand Falls Rapids, who are in 6th place, to the West Kent Steamers, who are in 2nd place with 15 points. This is probably one of the tightest division races that we've seen in the last 2 years. Last year, obviously, it was quite a race for the bottom 3 teams. It was dominated primarily by Edmundston, West Kent, and Miramichi, who are the defending MHL champions. And this one, it's something special. It is really something special because you have all of those games that are going to be high pressured, that you're going to want to win every single time and make sure that your team is the best at coming out on top, starting on time, and making sure that you're scoring those first goals. So with that being said, the keys to victory tonight: stay disciplined, out of the penalty box, do not take any undisciplined calls, score the first goal, and start on time. Those are going to be your keys to victory tonight. It's going to be a very good one that's exciting, and one that everyone is looking forward to, whether you're in attendance tonight or if you're watching the game on Flow Hockey, which Devin Judge will have the call for you on Flow. It's going to be a very exciting one. Always a pleasure getting to call these games and getting to break down some of the most exciting moments, and hopefully is going to be a huge win for the boys tonight. With that being said, I am going to get ready for the game. We will see you here right after with the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids post-game, where we're going to do a recap. We're going to further dive into the matchups that are going on next weekend, and we are going to have an exclusive interview coming up as well. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell notification for all future content, and we will see you tonight after the game for the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids post-game show.